Welcome back. We've got the barn done, the windmill done. I went ahead and painted this field of wildflowers back here in the back. The sunlight is coming in behind this big oak and just splashing across that field and hitting the barn. And then this oak makes a shadow across here. And I'm going to have my bluebonnets mostly in shadow because that gives me a nice dark then that the light will then hit the horse and Trucker, our dog. Also, I'm going to have pin stem in here. They're going to be pinks and oranges. So this field back in here is going to be predominantly bluebonnets because Royal, the horse, is a sorrel. And so I want those blues and purples and all to accentuate the oranges in his coat. This is a mixture of cobalt blue plus white. And in the bluebonnets back here, I've used some ultramarine blue, which the cobalt blue is a little more intense and so it comes forward. And I'm going to have some limestone right in here behind Trucker. These rocks will be in shadow here from the penstemon, so this light back here will accentuate the dark of his hips and back. So I just start blocking in my bluebonnets, and I just carefully work around my sketch. And now if I happen to go over like that, it's very easy. My initial sketch is dry. The oil wash sketch is dry. So I can come back with a clean brush, get this brush clean, and I can just wipe that paint off of the sketch and I won't lose my sketch. That's one of the reasons that I do this wash in, because then I've really got a good solid sketch that if I make any missteps with my painting, then I can come back and I still have my sketch there. I'm going to add some little purples in here. Just add some variation in these flowers. This is just a whole mixture. These are, give you some different colors back in here. I'm going to take some of this. These are Indian paintbrush. That's my cadmium red light plus white in it. And that just gives me the Indian paintbrush back there. And once I get the brighter colors up front, it's really, those aren't going to be actually look as bright as they are. This is magenta plus white. Just put some different flowers back out in there. I want to get this covered around Royal, our horse. Again, I'm just blocking in here. This is still pretty rough. Then I have a cactus back here. Now this is some of my ultramarine blue mixture. It's kind of, I want to intermingle those. Just kind of let them come in together so that it makes a nice, the eye will visually mix those. Make that nice transition there. We're getting ready to have just a banner spring here in Texas. We've had all the right conditions. We had a lot of rain last September, which is when all of our wildflowers, the seeds start setting and they start making the plants, and then they develop their roots all winter long. And now they're just starting to flower out. It's going to be just beautiful. So I'm going to let some blue come in behind these pinks and the oranges. I'm not sure what my sissy's wanting, but she's just going to have to wait until we're finished here. See how I can use the corner of that square brush? That's a bright brush, and I can just use the corner to work around my sketch. Bring some of that ultramarine blue in here. It's a little lighter as we go back. I'm going to bring some of that magenta down in here. This bunch of flowers is going to act as a pointer to bring us right into Royal's face. I don't want that color real bright, but it's just acts as a pointer there. Now this is a mixture for the foliage on the bluebonnets. This is a mixture again of my phthalo blue plus some cadmium orange, and I've added a little bit of cadmium yellow medium into that. The foliage is going to be darker flowers. Some dark here behind Trucker's neck. And this foliage is going to come down. There's going to be rocks under here. Blue bonnets, again, this is my cobalt blue plus white. And I have a couple of shades here. I have a darker shade and a lighter shade. That just helps to give some variation in that field of blue. When I come back there, you'll start seeing some foliage go back here. As the plants get further away from us into the distance, you don't see as much of the foliage because most of the blooms are up above the leaves, and so from a distance you mainly just see the color of the flowers. But up in here you're going to see some greens interspersed in between those blossoms. We'll bring a little dark here behind his white blaze. Again, that dark's just going to accentuate the light on his face. I'm not worried about this because I'm going to plant some other flowers in here. Now, I'm going to not worry about these flowers over to the right of Royal right yet because I want to finish out these little blue bonnets in here so you see how I do that. Bring this blue down behind Trucker. Some of the darker in here, where their noses meet. A little bit here, look around his head. clean up his ear right here so I don't lose the shape of that. I'm not going to worry about where their noses meet right now, because I just want to keep my sketch there. I'll work around that very carefully when I paint them. Now, I'm going to take a little bit more of my cobalt blue. I need a little bit darker mix, and then like this. And I just start adding some little texture in here of these flowers. A little more of the little flower petals you see. These are not going to be real close, so they're not going to be real detailed, but we still want to get the distinct shapes of those flowers in there. Some lighter color back here. The shadow of his face here, so I want a little bit lighter in here. Now, I take a smaller brush, and this is some of actually from my sky. This is my cobalt blue plus white, or white plus cobalt blue. And I just start adding the little tops on my blue bonnets. I need a little different brush. Now these here in the front, I'm going to start putting a little more detail on these because they are closer to us, so we'll see a little bit more detail in them. I'm going to come back here and actually work around this one with some of my green to shape that blossom. Add some texture in the foliage. Since his ear is dark, we're going to have the light hit the foliage back here, so that accentuates his ear. And now these blue bonnets right here, the sun's going to be hitting them, so I'm going to make their tops a little bit, this is actually my pure white. We're going to have a little more, a little bit lighter blue here. It's just a back and forth process. It takes time and getting that detail in. These are going to be the most detailed of my blue bonnets because they are right here in the very front. They're closest to us. They won't be as detailed as if they were, right here in the very foreground. But But I want these behind Trucker's head to be lighter because he's got that dark black on it, dark markings on his head. I really appreciate you following my YouTube videos. Please visit my blog. I'll show the complete step-by-step process of this painting. You can see it from start to finish, or since you're watching this while I'm working on this today, the finish won't be up there yet. But you'll see it up to this point. You'll see how we started out. And I also, the link is in the description below. It's also on the final frame of the video. And you can subscribe to my blog too, and you'll get an email every time I have a new post. Now as these little tops go back into the distance, they get smaller. These are almost too light. So again, that's how I get the blue bonnet started blocking in and some of the different colored wildflowers. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to make them in the comments section. And you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you again for watching.